doing with this? He's pointing this gun a lot at us.
My wife's on the phone with her hairdresser or her friend. She's like, really? Okay, I can't wait to see you. That's going to be great. Fantastic. What time? 12 o'clock? My wife is from Spain. Mm-hmm. And she said, blah, blah, blah. And blah, blah, blah. I don't mean to be racist when I put that accent on there, by the way.
So let me tell you first about me. My name is Amy. When I took Spanish in 4th grade, my name was Elena. They gave me the name Elena because I couldn't roll my R's.
That is uncut grade A pandering by Amy Klobuchar. That's actually from last year, I think, or early this year, to the Las Vegas Culinary Workers Union, to a largely Hispanic group. And so she thought it was a good idea. Now that we're doing this, white women adopting, stealing, appropriating the Hispanic and Latin women, Latinx, women thing. There's just a treasure trove of these instances off of the heels of Alec Baldwin's wife, Hilaria, who I thought was from Mallorca and Boston and grew up here and then was over there. And now it turns out that I might be more Spanish than she is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hilaria is Baldwin. That's not who she is. She's like Hilaria. She's
Hillary Hayward Thompson, I think.
Yeah, she's as Brahmin as they come. She's been living this complete lie for forever here. And it's crazy. I mean, two things about this. One, how is there a free pass if you're a good progressive for pulling this stuff? It's remarkable. And two, what is this insanity that makes people just assume these new identities? It's crazy.
Right. So she's Hillary Hayward Thomas, born in Boston, Massachusetts, to Catherine Hayward and David Thomas. And her father was an attorney with an undergraduate degree in Spanish literature who loved going to Spain. So they would travel a lot to Spain when she was a kid. And her parents moved there in 2012 after she got married. So she'll talk about going home to Mallorca, where she just means where her parents moved when she was an adult.
So once again, we played this yesterday. Here's her retractable accent.
How's married life?
Married life is really nice. It feels
That's
different.
Hilaria.
It really feels different.
Yes.
But I didn't think it was going to be different, but it feels quite different.
What's the thing that surprised you the most?
That he believed my accent story.
I think just the fact that it feels different. We like to say husband and wife a lot.
Yeah.
I come husband.
She found the English words for it.
He took me out to Montauk. He said that was as close as he could get to Spain.
This is Hillary.
My family.
This is
and
not
to Rome,
Hillary.
because we really like Rome as well. And he got down on his knee. And then I don't remember the rest because I started crying.
That's Hillary.
We have very few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have, how do you say it? Cucumbers.
That's Hilaria, once again. So Hilaria is the pretend Spanish personality that she uses. And Hillary is who she actually is, the Brahmin blue blood from Boston.
Right. Her paternal grandfather, David Thomas, is an American with roots in the country that predate the American Revolution, and her grandmother, Mary Lou Artman, who's from Nebraska. Her brother is named Jeremy Hayward Thomas. So, meanwhile, her kids that
have very waspy names, I assume, because she's a Brahmin from Boston who married an Irish guy.
Raphael.
Okay.
Leonardo.
All right.
Romeo.
Is that Irish or English, Romeo?
I think that's from their Irish heritage, I want to say. And Eduardo.
Eduardo.
Oh, and their daughter, Carmen.
Jeez. Nothing wrong with...
They're good names.
They are good names. Spain is beautiful. And it's wonderful. And it's produced a lot of lovely and great people. She's just not one of them. And I gotta believe that she's been lying to him. I have to believe that.
My wife's on the phone with her hairdresser or her friend. She's like, really? Okay, I can't wait to see you. That's going to be great. Fantastic. What time? 12 o'clock? My wife is from Spain. Mm-hmm. And she said, blah, blah, blah. And blah, blah, blah. I don't mean to be racist when I put that accent on there, by the way.
No, you're a good liberal, you don't have to worry about being called up for that. It's just remarkable.
She's from Spain.
How do people do this? Oh, that's okay, yep.
And now they must have friends at the New York Times. Alec must have called in a favor at the New York Times newsroom because their style section had this huge puff piece on how, people are being so mean to her online right now over this and how, she can define her own story.
And this story is huge. It's supposed to be about 84 inches. It is huge.
It's so
in
long.
what doesn't need to be a long story. And there aren't too many real pull quotes from it because there's no defense, explanation, or apology in the story.
Oh, no, there's no defense. She's purely trying to understand why people would attack her like this
She's willing
over her life story.
Right.
And I mean, it's incredible. So not only does a talent organization that represents her, Creative Artists Agency, say she was born in Mallorca, she has been in Hola magazine a bunch of times, and they say she's born in Spain. And she claims that she didn't know that they claimed she was born in Spain because she doesn't read any articles about herself. That's what she said. I didn't realize that's why she didn't correct them. And they just must have written a rushed, sloppy biography. That's where the misconceptions came from. So she's saying she never told anyone she was born in Spain. Their 5 children are blonde. It says in the article. She didn't include her parents' names in her wedding announcements. And let's see, there are, they go on. She attacks the people who pointed out online that she's not Spanish. She says that I feel like I've spent 10 years sharing my story over and over, and it seems like it's not enough, that there's some kind of confusion here. And she says, as much as she loves Spain, it was not a topic that she wanted to discuss publicly because doing so threatened to intrude upon her parents' privacy. Spain is a country long.
That's usually what a bride says. How a bride handles having her parents at the the biggest day of the year of her life, I mean.
She first visited Spain with her parents when she was a baby and went at least yearly thereafter. She declined to explain in detail how frequently they traveled there or how long they stayed. I think it would be maddening to do such a tight timeline of everything. Sometimes there was school involved, sometimes it was vacation. It was such a mishmash. Is that the right word? Like a mix of different things, she says to the New York Times. When they were home in Boston, the family spoke Spanish and cooked Spanish food. Family friends from Spain would often live with them for extended stays when visiting the United States. When we weren't in Spain, we brought Spain into our home, she said. Her brother Jeremy moved to Mallorca in the Mediterranean, and her parents moved there as well in 2011. These experiences explain why Spanish language, culture, food, and traditional dance are so important to her identity, she said. And she and Mr. Baldwin are working to recreate this for their children. I send them to a bilingual school where they have Spanish in school, and I speak to them in Spanish at home. After the pandemic, they plan to spend more time with their children in Mallorca. My family, this is where they've decided to spend their lives. She said, I guarantee they're going to live there and they are going to die there. That's their home. She didn't think...
So she's retroactively then going to take all the steps to morph into a Spaniard.
Right. She said she didn't think referring to online posts as travel to Spain as going home was misleading.
No, not at all. When people say home, they usually mean away. No, yeah. I don't understand how you could be thrown off by that. I mean, home...
This has been a part of my whole life. I can't make it go away just because some people don't understand it. See, we just don't understand her.
I mean, for some people, so I don't know. I assume this is part of wanting to be special.
More interesting.
Much more interesting than you are. And more exotic, and it just comes from, being a girl from Boston is, Boston girls may also have a bad name because of the rest of the country sees depictions of these girls from Southie generally, getting in bar fights, but this is just an affectation. This is an accessory that she's taken all this stuff on. I mean, the part of me is jealous that you're just allowed to do this. I mean, I once tried to use my own middle name as my first name in a bar because my first name wasn't working and picking up any women for the entire 90s. And I felt like a jerk by doing that, and I also stumbled over it. I was like, my name's Wheaton. It's got to be a lot of things to keep together, though. If you're going to live an entire life with this history.
Right.
I mean, and I don't know. I mean,
and assuming a whole cultural identity. That's like a lot to know about the other culture and everything.
When you're with a Spanish woman on Spanish television, pretending that you can't remember an English word for something because you're so Spanish, that is remarkable. That is remarkable. So let's go through a couple of these. I don't know. The time story is really good, though. I don't know. I'm at an impasse here. I just want to play Klobuchar. This is Klobuchar again. We just played a little bit of it. In the Culinary Workers Union in Las Vegas, in a group full of Hispanic women, Latinx women, whatever it's called, and you can see the video. Klobuchar, and she's always been shameless, but does her best to let them know that she's them. You know?
So let me tell you first about me. My name is Amy, and when I took Spanish in 4th grade, my name was Elena. They gave me the name me llamo Elena. So let me tell you first about me. My name is Amy, and when I took Spanish in 4th grade, my name was Elena. They gave me the name me llamo Elena because I couldn't roll my R's very, very well. And so it was Elena. And I am just, first, my story is this. I stand on the shoulders of immigrants myself.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, what if you're one of those people working for a living, your union has dragged you out to see this like 5th-tier candidate, pander to you, and she starts right in with the, I'm also Hispanic, by the way, just so you know, because I went to, in my school that you can't afford, I had a Spanish class where we got to pretend to be like you for a little bit. So I know the feeling, the struggles as well, how it is to be you. We did that back in high school. Jesus.
Yeah, and she's doing the speaking very loudly and clearly thing, which is so uncomfortable. I couldn't roll my R's very well. Do you see what I mean? They let me be Elena. Oh my god.
So I check out, just so you know, more than Kamala does and more than Pete Buttigieg does and all the others that you're going to hear from soon. I check out. Like me more. Elena, can't roll my R's. I'm cutely flawed. Oh my God. People.
And I thought about this even during the Liz Warren Native American stuff when she had to pretend to be Native American. When I was in 4th grade, it was the first time I took standardized tests because before that I went to a Waldorf school and they were fluffy and they didn't do standardized tests.
Ooh,
but
that's part of the 1570 project, the Waldorf school. Absolutely.
So that was my first standardized test in 4th grade, and you have to fill out a part where it says how would you describe your race or ethnicity? And I put other because my dad was Serbian, and I knew for sure that my mom's parents definitely didn't think he was white. So I assumed
what?
My dad is Serbian. My mom's parents didn't think my dad was white.
They didn't think he was white?
No.
Isn't he very white?
I mean he's Eastern European,
yes.
though. So that was not in...
They didn't think he was good white.
No, yeah, they didn't.
Okay.
It was very...
Wait, trashing your grandparents out.
No,
How Liz
my
Warren is
grandparents
that?
were great, but Serbia was not in their definition of whiteness.
Okay.
It was more of a waspy thing.
I don't know that world of the gentry and Brahmin culturalists.
My grandparents were great, and they were very liberal Democrats. And
who voted for?
Who voted for?
In 2008?
In 2008, they voted for Obama.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just helping you with the damage control. Alice,
I don't know. It's not.
Okay, no, just don't worry about it. Go ahead. Keep going.
So anyway, I checked the box that said I was other, and I wrote in Serbian/American on the box. And then by like a year later, I had decided that actually I probably was pretty much white. So I started to fill in the white bubble. By the time I was like 11, I had realized that it really wasn't meant for me, the other box.
It wasn't meant for you. It could have been advantageous.
That wasn't like the information they were looking for, really.
It could have been advantageous, Alice. You could be the senior senator of Massachusetts.
Warren came under fire in 2012 for claiming, without any proof, to have Native American heritage.
From 1986 to 1995, she listed herself as a minority in the Association of American Law Schools directory.
In fact, when Warren was a Harvard law professor, the university was criticized for not having enough diversity on the faculty, so the school defended itself by touting Warren's lineage.
The best thing is, and this is where we get to, I mean, she obviously used it to gain advantage.
I mean, she wrote an American Indian on her like bar application when she was like 35.
Which was found out years later after 2012, after she won the election. But I mean, at the time, back to the theme of progressives never have to apologize. Yeah. At the time, reporters in Boston asked her point blank, what the hell's up with that? And notice how much respect she has for the viewer, reader, and listener in the way that she thoughtfully answers the question.
Elizabeth, can you put this issue to bed and tell us whether or not you are, in fact, a member of a minority group?
So, middle-class families are getting hammered. I've been out talking to people about this all across the Commonwealth, and what they...
Did she dramatically misunderstand the question?
Well, I think the reporter did ask about the state of middle-class families.
Right. And then I'm going to mumble another question to myself. Just put that aside.
Care about or what Washington is going to do about that. My Republican opponent, he voted to double the interest rates.
Members of the Cherokee Nation want to know. They say you should come clean.
Right. So let's address the Cherokee Nation now, please. They're asking you. These are the people who you say you love. These are the people you say you're one of.
I have made the facts clear, and what I'm trying to do is talk about in this Senate race what matters to America's families, what matters to the families of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. My job in this campaign to talk about those issues.
Well, why did you
this
claim
is
you
what
were a
matters
minority
to the family.
and then stop?
I can't stop her when she's in the sequence.
Why did you claim you were a minority and then stop?
I have told you. I have answered these questions. I am going to talk about what's happening to America's families.
That other reporter was Andy Hiller, and they essentially the campaign shushed Sharman Zucchetti and said, Andy, do you have a question? And he said, I can't stop now. There's a sequence happening. There's a pinging going on here, and I can't just answer. And the best thing about that was then Hillary Chabot asked Liz Warren if she had represented herself as a Native American. Hillary Chabot of the Boston Herald,
who broke this whole story originally, right?
Said, well, is this the only time? Did you only pretend you were a Native American? Well, in the cookbook and at Harvard?
And in terms of other applications or for college or for any other job, did you ever mention it?
Not that I recall.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I do. I mean, you never. It's such a. Who's the Virginia governor?
Northam.
Yeah, it's such a Northam thing. Did you ever dress in blackface or as a Klansman on other occasions? Not that I recall. Well, Jesus. I mean, which means it was either A, so routine, or 2, you do recall.
I mean, yeah, I can answer the question with confidence about whether or not I have ever worn blackface in any context.
Right. You don't.
I know that I never have, because that's not something that's in my repertoire of things that I do.
So you recall not wearing it?
Yeah.
Okay, I also recall not wearing it. But so this is here. So here's Hillary Chabot at the time. The arrogance of these people. Here's Hillary Chabot at the time. This is what we just played. Listen to the question. Listen to the background noise.
And in terms of other applications or for college or for any other job, did you ever mention it?
Not that I recall.
Not too loud. Doesn't seem like it's normal humdrum street noise.
I misheard a question at a very noisy press conference.
She misheard the question at a very noisy press conference. That's gone now. It was really noisy. I mean, unfortunately, the invited press were really noisy. Not me. It's just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And the best thing is, too, when Trump, during his administration, remember, there was a Native American group there, and Trump got along with these guys, and he started calling her Pocahontas with this group.
Yeah.
Which obviously may not have been the most tactful thing to do. But she then takes that occasion to step right past her own problematic past and go after him for doing an injustice to indigenous people.
It is deeply unfortunate that the President of the United States cannot even make it through a ceremony honoring these heroes without having to throw out a racial slur. Look, Donald Trump does this over and over, thinking somehow he's going to shut me up with it. It hadn't worked in the past. It is not going to work in the future.
First of all, however crude, whatever, calling her Pocahontas it's not a slur.
No, it's not a slur. Pocahontas is a historical figure.
Yes, who's respected. The problem is that Liz Warren is pretending
I know.
to be sisters in arms.
And didn't the DNC this year have her address the Native American caucus or whatever, too?
Yes, they had her in front of as many groups as they possibly could. To his credit, Trevor Noah actually managed to condemn at the time. I know that this isn't 4 years ago, but I just want to play this because Trevor Noah is a good liberal, so this must have been tough for him. But this is as sharp as a rebuke got, where really she should have been canceled according to the rules of cancel culture.
The way Warren tells the story is that it's been part of her family law for decades, that they have some Native American ancestry. And while listing it in the law school directory might have hypothetically helped her career, there's no hard evidence that Warren used it to get any jobs. Though it's not like she got no benefits out of it.
In 1984, Elizabeth Warren contributed recipes to a Native American cookbook called Pow Wow Chow, claiming she was Cherokee.
Wow, okay. If you're contributing recipes to a book called Pow Wow Chow, you better be comfortable in your Native American identity. The problem is, in 2012, the New England Historical Genealogical Society looked into it, and they found no proof of Warren having Native American lineage, which is problematic. And look, I mean, it's not like she's committed a crime, right? I mean, lots of white families from Oklahoma think they have some Native American blood. Right? It's one of those things people both genuinely believe and also don't question enough. Because let's face it, being part Native American is cool, right? It's just part Native American. Like, enough that you're interesting at a party, but not so much that they build a pipeline through your house. You know what I mean? Just enough. But still, like, Elizabeth Warren did something problematic, right? The kind of thing that we rightfully call each other out for every single day.
That was a rare rebuke.
Yeah,
from
it was
anybody.
A moment of honesty. And it is funny that Liz Warren skates on this all the time. And Charlemagne the God called her out, too, if you remember.
Oh, right.
Called her Rachel Dolezal.
Right.
And she didn't have any answers for him, really, either. But it's so interesting that liberals are, like, on the lookout for these microaggressions and secret racism and all this stuff. And after school mascots, they're so upset that you would have a school mascot. But, again, with them, everything is projection with them. They're the ones who, like, weirdly fetishize being exotic foreign cultures so much that they need to pretend to be them in their spare time. Like, I mean, Liz Warren just wrote it down on a few forms saying that she was Native American. Hilaria Baldwin really put a lot of effort into her Spanish cosplay that she's been doing now for 10 years. I mean, she left her parents off her wedding announcements. Like,
by the way, how do you even... The New York Times has been taken over by woke jihadis, essentially.
Right.
How are they okay with this? How are they okay with this woman of incredible privilege getting this kind of treatment?
Right. She's been taking up space in Hola magazine
right.
for years that rightfully belongs to Latina women, right? Like, I mean, where's Eva Longoria on this and AOC and all these people that are supposed to be fighting the fight here? Because it's sort of It's more than sort of. It's completely insane and ridiculous. You know, I like Mediterranean culture as much as the next person. They have great food. Spanish people have great culture and dancing and amazing old buildings and fun history. But I'm not dyeing my hair black and raising my children thinking that they're Spanish. I mean, come on. It's so bizarre. I don't understand why they have to take it this far.
And you know what's funny is that Alec Baldwin felt so comfortable feeling, feeling that he now had license to make ethnic jokes and play on ethnic stereotypes because he was married. He got a hall pass because he was married to his
wife's
Latina.
from Spain.
My wife's on the phone with her hairdresser or her friend. She's like, really? Okay, I can't wait to see you. That's going to be great. Fantastic. What time? 12 o'clock? My wife is from Spain. And she said, blah, blah, blah. And blah, blah, blah. I don't mean to be racist when I put that accent on there, by the way.
But I'm not, of course, because I'm married to a Latina, a Hispanic woman. So,
And she's like, but I told him I'm from Boston. That's one of the first things I told him. Well, you can be from Boston, right, and also be Spanish. There's lots of actual Spanish people living in the Boston area. So he might think that you lived in the Boston area, but you were Spanish, which you're not at all remotely.
Hey, you know what? I have
So
to admit something else. 1989. Sorry. What year was? Okay, it was 1989 or 1990. I culturally appropriated the personality of a Frenchman to in Harvard Square to at the old what's the Mexican restaurant there? Border Cafe.
Yeah.
The old, or this might have been Uno's. I don't know. But I pretended that I was from France and tried to use that to order beer.
So you didn't understand ID laws in America.
I had taken exactly. I don't know. What do I know? But I had taken French 1 for 3 years in a row, which you know. And so I had a mastery of very simple sentences. Like un billet or whatever it was. I knew it then. And so at this Uno's, and I had 2 friends with me, of course, who were just staying mum about the whole thing. They're embarrassed as hell. We had already obviously had a couple of beers. I think John may be one of the guys with me, but anyway, so the waitress is like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't understand you." And I was confident as hell at the moment because I was acting like somebody else, not me. And the person I was making up was better and more suave than I was. You know what? I'm hilarious. I was hilarious at that moment. And of course, this is Harvard Square, and the place is packed with college students working there, etc. So how hard do you think it was for them to find somebody who spoke French? And that's it. She said, "Oh my! Oh, you know what? I'll be right back. Gilbert speaks French." There she goes, and up comes Gilbert, and I'm like, I hiked the hell out of there. Jesus. But you know what? I apologize. You know what? Ask me to explain myself to the French people, Alice.
Explain yourself to the French people, Tom.
The middle class is getting pounded, and that's what the American people care about right now at this moment. And I'm not going to sit here and use distractions and to allow you to do the bidding, by the way, of political opportunists. No,
I see. I too apologize for using the other bubble on my standardized test in 4th grade.
You don't have a copy of that, do you?
No.
I would like to use your appropriation for some merch. All right, so another thing I want to get to, and we're going to pivot here for a second. I'm on with, I was on with, today is the day I also did the Todd Feinberg show at WTIC in Connecticut. So there's a story in Connecticut where the police shot somebody. This guy was in a neighborhood. They shot and killed him. The guy was in a neighborhood. He had a long gun, looked like a machine gun, but it was a big long gun and a pistol. He was running around this neighborhood, waving the gun around, acting crazy. A bunch of people called 911, and they went and converged on this guy. So the cops, go and they're pleading with this guy, and they say, "Hey, put the gun down. Put the gun down." They've got their guns drawn as well because it's a really volatile situation. Put your gun down. Put your gun down. Put your gun down. Put the gun down. Put the gun down. Put it down. And they're pleading with this guy, and he said something's wrong with the guy. He's saying, "No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it." Well, it culminates with them shooting this guy. He was eventually by a dumpster. He allegedly aimed a gun at one of the cops, kept aiming at them, at one of the cops, and a female officer shot him and killed him. So
that's interesting because actually female officers do shoot more people than male officers do.
Well, this one, I mean, the cops did. This is incredible to me. This story, just because the body cams are now released,
right?
And so you can hear them. So I'm going to play a little bit of this, and this is intense stuff. This is when the police arrive, and they're out, and they're chasing him. Now, he's saying three things. When they say, put the gun down, he's saying either bleep you, or no, or at point he says, bleep you, shoot me, or I ain't dropping bleep, when they say to drop the gun.
Okay.
So the guy, it's a tense situation, but they don't want to shoot the guy, obviously.
Put it down! He went behind the house. Hey, he went behind the house. I don't have visual on him. Guys, he's going to pop out near you. He's over there, bro. Yeah. Joe, I'm on your right. I'm on your right.
So the cops are worried. They've got this guy. He's moving around the neighborhood. They keep moving around. They're trying to coordinate so they don't shoot each other as well. Because there's a lot of stuff, moving parts now. This is at night.
Put it down! Put it down! Put it down, bro! Nobody has to get hurt tonight. Put it down! Put it down!
Chris, I got nothing, man.
I got him. Put it down, guy! Just drop it! Drop it! Just drop it! I don't see a magazine in it, but I don't know if that's...
Which is even, more tense. They don't. The guy's got the rifle. They don't see a magazine. They don't know. Maybe there is a magazine. Maybe guns are in the bullets in the chamber. Who the hell knows?
Put it down! He went behind the house.
Is he saying shoot me?
He's saying shoot me, man. But he's aiming at them still, and but at the same time, he's also trying to escape at times. He doesn't want to be apprehended. It's very obvious.
In the house, I don't have visual on him. Guys, he's gonna pop out near you. He's over there, bro. Yeah. Joe, I'm on your right. I'm on your right. Put it down! Put it down! Put it down, bro! Nobody has to get hurt tonight. Put it down! Put it down!
Chris, I got nothing, man.
I got him. Put it down, guy! Just drop it! Drop it! Just drop it! I don't see a magazine in it, but I don't know if that's... Put it down! Put it down! Put it down! Just put it down! Put it down! Put it down, guy! There's no reason for this. Put it down! Put it down! Put it down! He just walked.
So what are these guys to do? Guys walking around. He's moving around through the neighborhood, turning around. He's not putting his guns down. He's saying, shoot me. They don't, obviously, you can hear from them. They desperately want the guy.
Right. I'm sure every police department in the country has been holding their breath, trying not to be the next police department to shoot somebody.
Well, right, and I think they probably see that this guy's not okay.
Well.
Right,
not well.
Come
but
back to the front, guys, coming towards you. Don't get crossfire. Watch crossfires.
No, going towards the back again. Running again over the fence.
Yep. Here he hopped it. He hopped it.
The guy hops the fence.
He's running.
And at some point, they lose him. So now they've lost this guy in the neighborhood.
Running around with
machine guns. The whole area is not locked down. This is a problem now.
I'm gonna hop behind you. Yeah, you're good, right?
You're good around the back.
He might have hopped. I don't know if he hopped up.
Let me know if he popped out.
Watch the heights. Watch your high. Watch your high.
Black male with a rifle.
Round rifle.
We gotta set up a perimeter, please.
Hey, drop the gun! Drop it!
Incredible. At some point now, he tosses one of the guns away.
Move up.
Guys, watch your fire. There's a lot of guys out there.
Watch your cover. Put the rifle down. No, he put the handgun down. He just put the handgun, he's got the rifle still.
Drop it.
Put it down! Hey, move up to the next car. Move up to the next car. Ready? You got me?
Yep, go.
Yeah. Hey, put it down! Put it down!
So, I have a question, though, because what do people who want to defund the police think that a therapist is going to be able to do in this situation?
Let's go to that in a moment. This is how it finishes up. This guy then runs into a parking lot and is hiding behind the dumpster.
Right.
And they are then advancing almost car by car to try to get closer to him.
Put it down! Joe, what are we doing with this? He's pointing this gun a lot at us.
That dog, I assume, is a police dog. I don't know. It's just a dog in a neighborhood. I don't know.
Put it down! Put it down! He's down.
So that's the officer is Ashley Martinez who shot him. You can see in the video she's got her own body cam with her own audio.
Please drop the gun. Please drop.
She at one point says, "Please drop the gun, baby." She's trying to be soothing to him. She's trying to
the gun.
You can see when the guy then is waving the gun around, she's like, you can almost feel her saying, "Christ," and pulls her rifle up.
Please drop the gun.
How you guys doing? Give us the air.
Put it down!
Put down the gun. No, shoot!
Put it down!
He's pointing it.
And that was that.
Yeah.
They were there for 8 minutes or something. Can you imagine that being your occupation?
It's a pretty stressful job, I would say.
Jesus. And so far, I mean, it looks like the DA is behind them, and the DA released this footage, which is good. You know, there is a community activist who's still asking questions.
I want to see whether the gun is actually pointing at the officer. That's going to be an important thing.
So I looked at this thing closely, and I couldn't tell. I couldn't see what she was seeing that closely.
Because it's dark, you said, right?
It's dark, and her body camera she was not very close to him. Or she was, it seemed to me like 20 yards away. Maybe not that far away. I don't know. I don't want to say anything wrong. But Jesus, what a job. That's your night. You know, the crime is spiked in Hartford. That's your night where all of you guys go out there full adrenaline. Any of you at any time could get shot by this guy and killed.
Or by one of your coworkers.
Yeah. and killed. And that's your occupation. And then now she's been put on leave, which is probably standard, I assume.
Yeah.
Who knows? So far, this has not turned into a thing. It is tragic. The guy, by my non-professional, opinion, the guy is
not well.
Yeah, not well. Obviously, you got to feel bad for his family. In the tragic, it's terrible that it ever has to happen. But back to the conversation of defunding the police, etc. Who is going to do that job?
Yeah.
Who goes in there?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the alternative is you can just let him run around the neighborhood until he's tired of doing it, or shoot somebody else who's totally innocent of anything to do with it, right? That's the alternative. Somebody has to go in there and try and get him to put down the gun, and then if he doesn't, then what?
Right?
Then what?
No,
you negotiate with him, and then he doesn't want to put down the gun, and he keeps pointing it at you until what? What's the solution to this dilemma?
Right, and that's what I want to. That's what I want to know. What's the more training that you can have? These officers were standing there with the guns being waved at them for a hell of a long time, doing everything in their power.
Right. And so is the answer going to be like, oh, well, we should fund more mental health services beforehand to make sure that it never gets to that point? Like, well, okay, but now that he's out there with the rifle, waving it around at people, what do we do then as a society?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Because, I mean, I'm skeptical of over-policing, as I think you are, too. Like, we're not these type of people that want the cops out here writing tickets and stopping people for every stupid little thing. You know, we used to live in a town where people would complain that first of all, they all have Black Lives Matter signs in their yards, and probably, I assume, they all want to defund the police now, but they sure were big on calling the police for, like, people breaking the speed limit or driving through crosswalks or, you know, making too much noise at night or whatever else. They were big on calling the police on their neighbors, but not so much, you know, that it interfered with their Black Lives Matter activism, you know?
Right.
So what do they want to do? What do those people want to do when they feel that people go through too fast through crosswalks? Who do they want to call instead? Do the mental health workers have to do that too? I don't get it.
That's what's so aggravating about this year is that all context is taken out, and we simply judge by a single snapshot.
Right.
And nobody has an answer whatsoever. We want to reimagine policing? Well, okay. Can you just draw that out for me exactly? Storyboard that for us exactly. Mm-hmm. So reimagine what these guys were supposed to do.
Yeah.
I think that there's almost a complete consensus that having your knee on top of George Floyd's head was what not to do.
Right. I mean, that seems like not a great way to handle this situation.
That there would have been other options available.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, I certainly think that that probably cops like these guys should probably. I'm speaking out of school here, but I'm going to anyway. But I would think that anybody involved in this thing that night should be rotated to another shift, crosswalk, whatever, for a little bit. That was combat that these guys were in.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do that night after night and not have it get to you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe that's one of the things where cops see too much action and, you know, it can dehumanize aspects of the job where, you know, they're dealing constantly. What they're seeing a lot of times are threats to their life and not people in the neighborhood, not people's personalities, just a threat to their lives. And they've got to have some of that you need to have. Because when you do a traffic stop, you pull somebody over on the highway, there's a chance when you say license and registration that they're going to shoot you right there.
Right.
So, I mean, it's such a hard one. It's just I don't know. I don't know. It's just it's very difficult, is what I'm saying. It's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much more fun talking about Hillary.
I have to say.
What are the two things? Oh, a couple things I want to get to. Back to Connecticut again. Are this is the Connecticut Post. Like the I voted sticker, COVID vaccination pin aims to boost civic pride. Would you wear it? Efforts to raise awareness of how many people in Connecticut are getting a COVID-19 vaccine could meet with resistance from individuals concerned about facing criticism for their choice, according to a local law professor. The professor says that plans by the city of New Haven and AT&T to give out lapel pins to those who have received either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine is something of a double-edged sword. Isn't that funny? In some ways, it's the equivalent of the I voted sticker in that it helps boost civic pride. At the same time, I understand that people might be afraid to wear the pin because of any criticism they may get from individuals who are anti-vaccine. Also, it's even more complicated because what if Tom Shattuck walks around with an I've been vaccinated thing?
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Shattuck, as we know, is intersectionally a lot like Hilaria Baldwin. And has done nothing to deserve in the 2020 rules a vaccine before anybody else. The dogs are fighting. I think
our dog is out there.
I think Jimmy's out there.
Is
too.
he? Okay,
I think so.
Hopefully.
Our dog's fighting the neighbor's dog. If you want to know.
Yeah. So this is like the same thing you saw with our Congress people, right? From across the country, is people were mad that they were getting the vaccine first, even though a month before everyone was mad at them that they weren't going to take the vaccine to show how safe it was. So, I don't know. If we're going to be mad at somebody, I mean, Kamala Harris was telling people before the election that she wouldn't take the Trump vaccine because she didn't think it was safe. So now she's got the Trump vaccine to show that it's safe and effective. So maybe her saying that Trump's vaccine was rushed and unsafe was just, dare we say it, for political reasons,
Alice,
to make him look bad before the election.
I don't like that. I don't like that whatsoever.
I have one other news item regarding the vaccinations as well. This is a minor point, but are you familiar with Jennifer Bendery from HuffPost?
No.
She's a reporter from HuffPost. She's on Twitter, and we've discussed our SAT scores on the show, have we not? Mm-hmm. So you're not necessarily like a math whiz.
No.
But
not a whiz.
But let's see if you can keep up with Jennifer Bendery's math here. She says, it's not true that millions of Americans have been vaccinated, which Pence surely knows. Roughly 2.1 million people have been vaccinated so far, per the CDC.
In her defense, Alice, she was meaning to slam them because they're behind schedule. So let the record show. I thought Pence, didn't they say that there would be 20 million?
Yeah, and they're going to have sent out 20 million by the end of the year. But Pence isn't going to personally jab 20 million people by the end of the year. But yeah, so he lied. He said millions, and it's 2.1 million.
No wonder why the cast of Hamilton yelled at him. They knew before any of us. Cast of Hamilton, by the way, Lin-Manuel, what's his last name? Miranda. He is of Hispanic descent for real, right? He's not from Boston.
No, he's not.
Okay, good.
Thank you all for listening to the Burn Barrel Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Burn Barrel Podcast, at Burn Barrel Pod, Facebook.com/Burn Barrel Podcast, Parler at Burn Barrel Podcast. You can send us an email, burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com. You can go to our YouTube channel and watch videos of the podcast there. You can like, comment, subscribe, all those good things.
C'est la vie.